We did it. All right, guys, welcome. So I am here doing a Facebook Live on Teach Your Kids to Meditate. I wanted to do a live Q&A on this program. I've been running Teach Your Kids to Meditate since 2012. I went back and looked, and it's been since 2012 that I created, has it been since 2012? If not, it's been pretty close. I've been doing teaching mindfulness to families for a very, very long time. And I talk a lot about this on my podcast, Mom is in Control. And in the coming week, you're going to hear from me a lot more talking about understanding children's behavior on a deeper level. Why is this happening? But I'm getting a lot of questions about the actual program because we're in launch mode right now, and you can register. You can go to my name, heatherchauvin.com/kids. So if you go here, I'm just going to put this in the show notes. Or if you're watching this live, this is more details on the actual program. So when you go to heatherchauvin.com/kids, you're going to see where it talks about the Teach Your Kids to Meditate program, and then it says start now, and all you have to do is register here. Okay, so why did I create this program? So if you've been following me for a while, you might know my story, but I'm just going to give it to you in a nutshell again. So I used to be a social worker, and I worked in a government agency with families, and these families came from all walks of life, and they had one goal in mind, which was to become better families. And in order to become a better family, of course, we need to learn new tools and new strategies and shift the way that we're showing up in the world, right? Shift the way that we're showing up as an individual and to help our child. But when people lose hope and they're seeking these, and all the feedback they're receiving is, your child is behavioral, or this is happening, or that is happening, and they're receiving a diagnosis or a label of the situation, or they're saying, well, just, let's bring your child to this therapist, let's bring your child to that psychiatrist, but there's no actual coping strategy. This is where disconnect happens in the family. So one, I was seeing it from that angle as a professional when I was working in the social work field. And two, I was struggling personally. So I'm a mother of three. My oldest is 13, and then I have a 9-year-old and a 5-year-old. And when my oldest was around 4 years old, I noticed a huge shift in his behavior. So at this time, I'm studying mental health. I'm studying child psychology. I'm working in the field, and I come home and I do not know how to, quote unquote, control my child. And hence the word or the term, Mom is in Control. I felt out of control. I didn't know how to help my son with his behavior. At the time, I didn't know it was emotional. I was just like, what is wrong with him? I can't handle this. So I was reacting. I started yelling. I started, I was chronically fatigued. I was stressed to the nines, and I didn't have the patience to deal with his behavior. So I resorted to what I've been taught as a professional, which you don't really learn child behavioral modification in university, by the way, or at least I didn't. Parenting strategies, you have to read your own books and do your own research. So I just went from what I knew or what I see other people do, which is timeouts. And this is what, my son's daycare people were teaching me. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on at home. And they're like, well, you got to put them in a timeout. You got to discipline them. You got to do this. And so I started doing these things, and I felt really awful. I felt like I was failing as a mother. And there was this deep, deep voice inside of me that said, there has to be another way, Heather. This can't be it. This is not sustainable. And I was drawn to mindfulness and meditation for some reason, because even at that point, I wasn't big into yoga or meditation myself. So I really didn't understand what this calling was that I had. And one day I found this book, and it was called Sensational Meditations for Children by Sarah Wood. I'm sure it's still out there somewhere, so you can go grab it if you find it. And I opened it up, and it was teaching me strategies on how to introduce mindfulness into my son's life. So I thought, I'm going for it. At this point, I'm desperate. So I got certified in her training, and all we did all weekend was meditate and did very childlike activities, which was drawing and coloring and all of that, and just expressing ourselves, expressing our emotions and how we felt and what we seen and all of that. And the beauty of this was I now had words to put to my feelings. I had tools that I could teach my son. But there was still a gap, and that gap was there was a lot that she wasn't teaching. And there was a lot that I knew I could bridge the gap because I was in it, right? I was a mother and a professional. So I could see the gap of where people would get tripped up and not know how to implement. And so that is how Teach Your Kid to Meditate came about. So it's a 4-week program helping you gain a refreshing approach on your child's behavior and start implementing strategies like mindfulness. Now, the title is misleading, because Teach Your Kids to Meditate is not all about teaching your kids to meditate. So the first response I get from people is, my child won't meditate. We've tried this before, right? Why am I paying so much for a product when I could just Google a YouTube video and watch a meditation or listen to a meditation with my child? This is going above and beyond. So Teach Your Kids to Meditate is about the tool as mindfulness, but it's really the core value of the course, which is mindfulness and consciousness and conscious discipline and connection with your child. So I'm teaching you as the parent how to become the life coach for your child. I'm teaching you as the parent to really understand what are your child's green zones, what's your child's yellow zone, and what's your child's red zone. And if you don't know what these are, I'll be teaching you that as well. And I'm also teaching you how to have those uncomfortable conversations with your child when they shut down, how to have those uncomfortable conversations when they're in a meltdown mode, how to communicate these to the teachers, how to communicate this to maybe your partner if you're divorced, how to communicate this to other people who know, like, and trust your child and work with them. Because what I find is a lot of teachers and healthcare practitioners, therapists are not aware of emotional intelligence and therefore don't always pick up on it. Now, there's a lot of forward-thinking people out there, but for some reason, this isn't a common skill or common awareness for people. So a lot of forward-thinking parents who are game changers, you're the leaders, you've always felt a little outside of the box. You're the ones that are bringing forth this information into the world because we're moving into a new paradigm where more consciousness needs to be talked about. So who's it for? It's for the parent who's done. You are so done with struggle. Like you were done yesterday with struggle. Parenting should feel good. Yes, I said that. Parenting should feel good. This doesn't mean you need to hire somebody to take care of your children. I don't have anyone who takes care of my children. You definitely need a village and to ask for support, but that's not what it's about. The emotions, the belief systems, the thoughts, the reality that we've created in our own family dynamic, there's deeply rooted beliefs that we carry around with ourselves, and oftentimes it comes from how we were parented and how we grew up. So Teach Your Kids to Meditate is for man or woman, husband or wife, mom or dad, grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, teacher, principal, whoever, who wants to learn and understand their child's behavior on a deeper level. So this is a program that is going to help you as well and help you coach and understand how to create that emotional intelligence, that emotional responsibility in any child. What is it about? I just kind of talked about this. I'm reading off my notes. When is it? So it's go at your own pace. You could have registered for Teach Your Kids to Meditate anytime throughout the last 6 years. But it is now, I'm doing a live round. First time I'm doing a live round since I've created the program. With that comes 2 times a week group Q&A with me. and we're starting in July. So on Tuesdays and Fridays, we have a morning group Q&A and we have an evening group Q&A. Those times are on the sales page. So if you head on over to the registration page, so just go to heatherchauvin.com/kids. When you go to start now, you'll see it'll tell you when the Q&A is. And if it's not there, it will be there shortly. We're working on it, and I'll post that in the comments below if you're watching this on Facebook. So because of the Q&A, you're going to ask me anything. This isn't about introducing mindfulness. This can be about any spectrum of parenting. This can be any spectrum of emotional health. This can be about your emotional health as well. So because I'm doing the live round, I'm also throwing in a whole bunch of additional bonuses that will not be available after we start after this program is done, this live round. So you're also getting, which are my two most popular modules that I teach in my mastery program, and that's the next level after Teach Your Kids to Meditate. So I have energetic time management. One of the objections that I always get from parents is, I don't have time to implement this. So I'm going to answer that question for you right now. One, you do have time if this is a priority for you. I get it. There is so much on our plate. What are we supposed to prioritize, right? What's the high leverage action we need to take? So one, I'm going to give you this module. It's a 2-hour workshop. You can watch it at your own pace. You have lifetime access to it if you join this time around. And what it's going to do is how to set up your day, your week, your month, your life in alignment with how you want to feel. So if you know you want to feel energized, you want to feel strong, you want to feel connected, you want to be present, I'm going to show you how to set up your calendar in alignment with how you want to feel. Now, this is very left brain, like logical, like systematic, step by step stuff. I still use this process myself. It's rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So it's not a one and done. It's something it's a skill that you're going to constantly shift and modify. And the beauty of this is you can go at your own pace as well. You don't need to watch the whole 2 hours at a time. Another question I get is, Heather, how do I cope with my daughter's behavior, with my son's anger? How do I, feel in control of this situation because I don't know what to do? To answer this question, one, I'm going to teach you, but two, the other module that I'm including in this that was not in it before is called the Aligned Workshop. So many of us are out of alignment with the life that we want to be living, and parenting is one of those life relationships, those situations that will rock you to your core. And I say it's personal growth on steroids because it's going to show you where you need to grow. And for me, parenting, I'm here today. I am the strong woman I am today. I am healthier than I've ever been in my entire life. I have more energy than I've ever had. I'm strategic. I'm thriving. I'm all of these things because of my parenting, because I take my health, my energy, it's very important to me. And because of that, I have more time with my kids. I have more energy with my kids. It's because I know the life that I want to be living. I know how I want to feel. I know what I want to go after. And the Aligned Workshop will kick your butt and help you do that. So oftentimes, I'll give you an example. Someone will say to me, I'm yelling at my son because he won't listen to me. I'll just use homework as an example because that's an easy one. And I know summer is coming for some of you, but this is just a typical life example. He won't do his homework. He's not motivated. So I'm always yelling, telling him what to do. Well, how do you want to feel in a relationship with your child? Do you want to be constantly yelling, or do you want to feel a deeper sense of connection? Do you want to feel respected? Once you have that vision, then you're like, ooh, I'm out of alignment. This is not how I want to feel. So then I'm going to show you how to get back in alignment. And because we have those live Q&As, some of them will be recorded, so you can go back and listen if you can't make it live, but we did do one in the morning and one at evening to accommodate lifestyle, work schedules, and time zones as well. And there's also a private Facebook group inside Teach Your Kids to Meditate where you can ask these questions. So understand that this isn't just about mindfulness and teaching your child mindfulness. When you are in alignment, when you know exactly what you want, and you say to me, Heather, I don't know what I want, I get it. And that's why I created the Align workshop, because resistance is going to be there, right? Resistance is a natural form of the body and the mind to keep us safe. Our children do it all the time. When we understand our own resistance, then we can push through it. And then when we see our child is having resistance, we can help them push through as well. But in order, okay, this is going to be one of those truth bombs that might get you right in the gut. We need to become the people we most desire our children to be. We talk way too much. Do this, you should do that, you should do this. But are you practicing what you preach? Are you telling your child to respect you, but you're not respecting your child, or you're not respecting yourself? Are you telling your child to go after their dreams, but you're playing small? Are you telling your child to just breathe, but you don't know how to breathe, which is, by the way, one of the worst things you could tell a child when they're having a freak out. And I'll be talking more about that this week. Why did I create this? This is my vulnerable why. Teach Your Kids to Meditate was created because, one, I was that child. I was that child that did not feel in control of my big emotions, and it almost took my life. I was that child who didn't feel heard. I was that child who did not know any other emotion besides anger and sadness. And the only interventions I had were medication, talking about, not even my feelings, talking about what was going on, and that was it. Nobody coached me and nobody showed me how to get out of the black hole. I had to do that myself, and it took me many, 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 many years. And I understand as a parent, when you're watching your child suffer, when you're watching your child ridden with anxiety, when you're watching your child not be able to cope with their anger and anxiety, and you're getting phone calls from school, and you're seeing, how they're different. They may be on the spectrum. They may have a diagnosis. They may not. You just know that their sense of worth might feel a little compromised. You have the power to turn that around. You have the power to become the person that your child needs, to become the person that you needed as a child. And my big why is also, we've been implementing these tools and strategies. I've been implementing them in my own parenting, and we've been using mindfulness in our home ever since my son was 4 years old. So the other two have grown up with it. And what has happened is we're able to have meltdowns. We're able to have tantrums. We're able to have confrontations, because every single family is going to have these. This isn't about perfection. Confrontations and me not reacting, and sometimes I still do, right? It's okay to react. This is progress, not perfection. But where before I would be like, go to your room, everything's gone. And I would scream so much that my throat would hurt. And now I can take a deep breath and I can walk away and I can re-enter and I can get an apology, and I will apologize to my children too. That is how I want to be remembered as a mother. That is the legacy of the emotional intelligence that I want to leave in my home. That is the cultural, energetic standpoint that I want to leave in this house, because your home is a culture. Your home is a culture. Your children feel the energy in the home, and you are the leader. You are the alpha. You are the alpha male. You are the alpha female. You are the only person that is in control of the culture of that home, of shifting the energy. So this is how we're going to do it. So my big why is I never, ever, ever want my children to feel the way that I felt as a child. I want them to know that they're not alone, that they are supported. And if I don't know how to solve their problem, I'm going to help them. And I'm going to advocate for them to get the best support that they can. More importantly than that, my big why is I want my children to be able to wipe their own ass. And what I mean by that is I want my children to be able to take emotional responsibility for their emotions. I don't want them to try to manipulate me to get something. Oftentimes we have rules in the house, and, teenage years, 9-year-old, toddler, 5-year-old, whatever, it's coming at me at all angles. And we have the rules. I have the boundaries. I will teach you in this program how to hold that boundary, how to set those boundaries, so that when a child is trying to cross the boundary, there's that saying, give an inch, they'll take a mile. There's a reason why we need those boundaries. It's for our sanity as well. It's for sustainability. And now I can have that conversation with my children without getting angry on how can we implement this rule, right? So that everybody in the home works together as a team. That is what Teach Your Kids to Meditate is about. It's about coaching you. It's about teaching you how to help your children. And it's about changing those generational patterns in your parenting. Because to be honest, gotta tell you some truth telling. You're not going to like this. Whatever emotional baggage you do not deal with in this lifetime because you're avoiding it, because you're like, ooh, that's uncomfortable, I don't want to open that can of worms. You are literally packaging that up in a beautiful bow and handing it off to your kids and saying, I wasn't courageous enough. Here you go. I wasn't brave enough to deal with this shit. So I'm going to avoid it. And I'm going to plop it on your plate so that you can deal with this shit. And if you have children one day, it's going to blow up in your face when you have kids. And then if you don't deal with it, you're handing it off to them. So understand that if you are not dealing with your triggers now, if you are not dealing with your big emotions, if you are not dealing with the chaos in your home, you are literally packaging that shit up in a nice little bow and handing it off to your kids, because it will go down from generation to generation to generation. Ouch, I know. And that's the difference between coaching and therapy. We're not here to talk about the problem. We're here to take action and to move forward to the future. So the first thing that happens is, what do you want? How do you want to be in your relationship with your child? What does that look like? And the second you bring something into it of, well, my mom and dad were like this, you still have wounds you need to heal. Because we need to bring this and say, what is the future that I want for myself? What is the future that I want for my child? How do I want to communicate with them? How do I want to interact with them? How do I want my son to be able to just communicate that he's angry rather than throwing things or shutting down? You can repair a relationship with any human being, especially your children at any age. It doesn't matter if they are 1, 5, 15, or 30. You still have time, but you have to do the work. Okay, how does it work? So, like I said, you can go to Heather Chauvin. So my last name is spelled CHAUVIN.com/kids. It's the Teach Your Kids to Meditate program. It talks a lot about the program itself. It will say start now. There'll be a red button there. You can click there. Once you've registered, you're in the program. You'll get a welcome email. You'll also see all of the group Q&A calls. So how the program works is it's go at your own pace. So you will get 4 weeks of content. The way that the content is laid out now is every week you're going to be, and you can, if you're like, okay, I've already done this, I want to go a little bit quicker, you can do that as well. But you're going to be getting a mindfulness tool or strategy, resource that you can use with your child to implement that. If your child is like, I'm not doing this, and you're like this round, you're like, that's way overwhelming, I can't do that, then great, you don't have to. You have lifetime access to this information. But what you will learn is you're going to be getting these tools. You're going to be getting the tools. You're going to be getting awareness about your child's behavior. You're going to be getting awareness about the red, green, yellow zones, about your belief systems and maybe something that you're projecting onto your child that's causing conflict, how to feel in control of your own big emotions, how to hold space for your child when they're having a nervous breakdown or a meltdown, how to communicate these big conversations with other healthcare providers, how to really just understand your child's behavior on a deeper level so that there's no more yelling, there's no more conflict, and you're okay. You feel comfortable. You're like, woohoo, yeah, my emotional intelligence, I got an A++, right? I see it all the time. I do this stuff as my career, guys, and I'm not perfect, but I see it all the time when I'm out in public everywhere where people are like, ugh, I'm not comfortable with that. I want you to feel confident that you know what to do when your child is having an outburst, having a meltdown, or something's going on in their life, because you are their greatest role model. You are the person that's going to be the change that you want to see in this world. So, like I said, once you register, there's the part where we're going to be uploading and redoing the content to refresh the content. So you're going to be getting new content that you can go at your own pace. And as soon as you register within the next few days, definitely before July, but if you register right before July, you can jump in. There's going to be a welcome message there. You're going to see the energetic time management workshop. You're going to see the aligned workshop, so you can jump into those right away. And then everything else is go at your own pace. And the group Q&A, that's additional bonus, so you can hop on those calls as well if you choose and decide to do that. One other thing that I wanted to say is I'm all action oriented. You are not getting a PhD in psychology here. You are not getting a PhD in emotional intelligence. I want you to act like you have one, but there's way too much information out there. And I've been working with women, mainly women and families around the globe for a very, very long time. And everyone struggles with very similar things. So I can get in, get quick, understand what's in your way, what's blocking you, and help you get there quickly. I'm known for strategy and action. So, there'll be reading resources and things like this, but this is not... this is an implementation program. So oftentimes I'll get emails from people saying, is this program right for me? Or I've read this book, or I've read that book. How is this different? Well, I have to take a sip and then I'll tell you. Everyone wants to work out and eat healthier. You could Google workout videos. You could Google meal planning. Why are you not doing it? It's because you don't have the right accountability. So the accountability is there in the group. Of course, you're investing in it, so hopefully you're going to be a little more committed to it. And that's why it's price point a little bit higher than what it was before. One, you're getting way more value. You're getting those additional modules. You're getting at least 8 group Q&As with me, and we're updating all the content. But you have to be invested. If you're not invested, you're going to make up excuses. You're going to know that, I don't have the time. I don't have the money. This isn't good for my child. This isn't blah, 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 blah. I've heard all of the excuses, anything to avoid doing the work, right? So the truth is, if you want change, change is available to you. We're not talking about the problem here. We're recreating the future that you want to be living inside of your home. And actually, I'm helping you recreate the future for your children and their children and your great-grandchildren and for decades to come. Because what's happening is you're going to break that pattern and you're going to restore the relationship. What else? My teen won't meditate. I have a question for you. So, not a question, but this is a question I got. My teen won't meditate. Is this a program that will work for me? The answer is yes. Why? Because it doesn't matter if your teen won't meditate. There's something more that you're craving to help your child get motivated, to help them gather some life skills. And in order to do that, we have to have those life skills so that we can help them. So like I said, if you're jumping into this program and you want to, coming from the aspect of I want to teach my child these skills, great, you can do that. If you're coming from the aspect of I want to learn and implement these skills for myself, Great, you can do that. And then after, you can redo the program again. You have lifetime access to it. And then you can take it from that standpoint the second round. It's just like reading a book for the second, the third, the fourth time. You're going to gain more and more from it every single time. And that is included in the price. It's lifetime access to the content. You just don't have, we're just having the group Q&A for July, and that's it. We've tried breathing, and we need more. Yes, we all need more, right? I've always joke around of someone's like, just breathe, just breathe. And I'm like, that's the worst thing you can tell somebody when they're what I call in their red zone, right? When they're having their freak out or they're panicking of something. Oh, just breathe, it will be fine. Nope, shut up. Don't tell somebody that. So there's a lot that needs to happen behind the scenes before you get to that point. Oftentimes people are implementing this as a habit. They're using it as a crisis intervention tool. So what happens, why do you have a spare tire in your car? People are using meditation as a spare tire, or meditation or breath work, using their lungs, like conscious inhales and conscious exhales as a crisis intervention when they're on the road, on the side of the road with a flat tire, metaphorically speaking, and they're pulling out their breath, right? Okay, I got this, I got this, I got this. They get the new tire, the spare tire on the car, and they're raring to go. And they never breathe again. They never stop. They never calm down. It is a practice, right? You don't just drink water one day and never again in your entire life. These are the lungs and the bellies, and every ounce of your being needs oxygen. So it's utilizing these tools and strategies as a part of life, not as a crisis intervention. And so teach your kids to meditate is a lifestyle. It's not a one and done, SOS in your back pocket. This is about being mindful, and every aspect of your life is going to change. I see it all the time when I'm working with people. Typically, they come with me because they feel really out of sorts in their parenting or some aspect of their life, and that's just the symptom to the deeper rooted problem. So oftentimes in Western medicine, we're doing symptom management, right? Where oh, you got a cold. Okay, let's take this. You got this. But what's going on deeper, 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 deeper? So a lot of these little aches and pains in your life, what I call aches and pains, they're just little symptoms to a deeper rooted problem, which is out of alignment. So teach your kids to meditate. The Align workshop is going to help you start to get there, to get that awareness, that clarity. And then each week you're going to have your action steps to help you implement and make those shifts and make those things happen. Another question. I already kind of answered this, but I need to cope with her emotions. What do I need to do? Well, that's going to help you implement your own mindfulness practice to understand what your child's behavior is telling you, what to do when they're in their red zone, what to do when they're in their green zone, and the belief system cycle. So this is mindfulness. This is mindful discipline. This is mindful parenting. This is living in alignment with how you want to feel, which is typically counteractive and counterintuitive to how we've been parented. Growing up in a society where, your parents don't say sorry. Growing up, we're disciplined. Don't ask, don't tell, right? Sit there. You were bad. Your behavior's bad. You're not enough. All of that stuff. And now we're starting to unravel and undo all of this stuff and teach our children the other way to have a sense of self-worth. I haven't even mentioned the epidemic that we are in parenting. I read articles all the time about anxiety and depression in children. I talk to my friends who work in mental health and social work and, what they see in the school system and academics and all of these things. And our addiction to busy as caregivers. Why? What are we running away from? Okay, the neighbor has their kid in 3 activities. Well, then I need to have my kid in 3 activities. Oh, the neighbor has a kid there in 4 activities. Then I need to have my child in 4 activities. I'm the one who doesn't have my child in any activities this summer. Why? All 3 boys. Why? because I believe it's a time for play, and I believe it's a time for rest and restoration and relaxation and connection. And sometimes I'm considered a weirdo for that, because mental health is a number one priority in my life. Hands down. I don't care if my child gets an A++ on their report card. Are they happy? Are they healthy? And are they motivated? Do they have some sense of independence? Are they a good person? I want my child to be a good person over have a good report card. Yes, academics, trying, all of that, that's a whole nother topic, is important. But really, I want my child to thrive. I want them to have the internal sense of purpose and worth and motivation and connection. And I want them to feel part of our team as a family. And I want our culture to have really, really good energy, because those values are priceless. And if I can instill these things in my children now, that is literally going to ripple from generations to come. And that is what I'm teaching you inside Teach Your Kids to Meditate. I think that's it. So I got lots of truth bombs, and they'll be coming to you this week, depending on where you guys are listening to this audio or video. But I'll be sharing more information on my podcast, Teach Your Kids. No, my podcast not called Teach Your Kids to Meditate. The podcast is called Mom is in Control. If you have no idea where to find this podcast, just go to my website, heatherchauvin.com. But this program, we will be starting the live round. You can get in right now. Registration is open. It will be closing at the beginning of July. So head on over to Heather Chauvin. So CHAUVIN, that's how you spell my last name, .com/kids. Register now to get in on the inside. If for some reason you are like, oh gosh, this is going to be another one of those programs I'm not going to implement. Is this for me? I'm actually doing 15-minute Q&A calls with you guys to see, because sometimes, it's just, we love our children to pieces. There's so many resources out there. So I thought I'm going to create a schedule for you guys and get you on the phone to see if it's a good fit. So if you have any last minute questions, write them down and go to heatherchauvin.com/let's talk and get on my my schedule as well. And I'll put these links above this video wherever you're watching it. If you're listening to it on the podcast, those links again, they'll be in the show notes. But if you want to get on my calendar to see if Teach Your Kids to Meditate is a good fit for you and your family, your specific needs, then go to heatherchauvin.com/let's talk. And just follow the button, click the link, get on my calendar, and register if you want to register. If not, you don't have to. I also have lots of free resources on my site. So if you're terrified of even doing this, don't worry about it. Just go to my website. I have so many free resources there. My mission for you guys is just to know that change is possible. You don't need to struggle. I see it all the time. People love wearing, the mommy martyr badge. I used to wear it really, really well and say, oh, look at me. I haven't washed my hair in a week. I did wash it today though, but it's a little crazy. I haven't taken a shower in a week. I haven't eaten. Look at me. Like, am I not a superhero? And people are like, oh, you're such a super mom. Like, way to go. That's awesome that you're neglecting that yourself. I don't really find that to be a badge of honor at all. I see it to be a cry out for help, and it's not sustainable. And we really need to bring the village back. We need to bring the sense of community back in parenting, because we're neglecting ourselves as women. And women, to me, are the cornerstone of life, the cornerstone of culture and family and everything else. So when we crumble, the whole system crumbles. And if you're witnessing that in your home right now, just please know change is possible. And in order to do that, you need to change your vision, you need to change your life, and you need to get somebody to kick your ass and get you out of that hole. And I can be that person for you. And just know that, change, we don't want it, but yet we need it. So you are not alone. Last thing I'm going to say is, if you know one mother, one father, one human being who could listen to this or watch this, just please tag them or share it, because the message needs to get out there. And you have the power to change the way that you think and feel, but you also have the power to change the way your child thinks and feels and your grandchildren. So understand that how you show up today will make an impact in generations to come. Thanks, guys. Talk soon.